like it when you call me senorita. Na 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 na, that's all I know. Na 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 na, na 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 na.
You can't start with a song you don't even know words.
That's all I know.
What is
TikTok.
that? Come
TikTok. That's all
on.
I know.
Come
Ta na
on.
na na na, na na na. That's all I know.
TikTok is a huge, like, it's very earwormy, isn't it? Because the same people basically keep using them for the memes. And
Over
next
and
thing
over
you
and
know,
over
I
again.
had one like that for the past, it's funny. Now I can't think of it. For the past 3 days, I've been catching myself humming it. Yeah. And it's
Right?
from TikTok.
It's totally
Yeah.
TikTok. TikTok is taking over. You're taking over. And Paul is shrinking on me for some reason.
Why am I
Because,
shrinking?
see? You're like,
Not fair.
totally fair.
It's not
So
okay.
it's the cold. It's cold up there in New Hampshire. That's why
It's
I
shrinkage.
expand.
It's not like that.
I expand.
Everything's fine. So, God dang it. That
So
drives me nuts.
that's okay. Well, we'll get through this. So today is Get You Over the Hump Day. And what we are doing on Wednesday is we're answering your questions in real time. I'm going to show you where to put your questions if you have them. You're just going to go to our website, which is bethenakedtruth.com/live. And what you're going to see is this beautiful page, questions of the day.
Yeah.
And right here on the top, ask and win. Just click on that and you'll see that you can put all your questions here. You can start the discussion, put your questions in here and vote on them, and then we can answer all your questions in real time. How awesome is that? So if you're struggling with marketing, with business, with personal development, funnels, emails, copy, video, live streaming, meditation, relaxation, all that jazz, put those questions in and we're going to answer them for you. And today, before we get started, we're going to show you something good. Feel Good Wednesday. So let's do that. Here we go. So this one Paul shared with me. Let me know you can see it. Here we go. How awesome is that? How awesome is that? How awesome is that? So why do you love this so much?
Pretty
Paul?
cool, right?
Yeah. Why do you like it so much?
I just think it's, first of all, we got so much stuff going on that we're nervous about and scared about right now. It's nice to have reminders that there's still, every day there's people out there doing good things and being kind to one another, right? Taking time for each other. So the more we can spot like that, the more we should, I think. And then I think it's really cool too to look at how communities, online communities, like there's a lot of negative stuff about technology, right?
Yep.
Social media does this and social media does that, and it's not good for our youth and all this. And you go, sometimes that's true, but it's not the only truth. Like the other cool thing about technology is it pulls, look at how fast it happened, right? This guy took a moment and did something nice for another human being, and all the other people recognized it, and it was like boom, 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 boom. And next thing you know, Tony Hawk's like, yeah, cool, I'll send him a skate. You know, like,
Yeah.
like it's so cool. Things like that can happen today quickly and effectively.
How fast was it? Like, how long did it take?
Well, I don't know if that's true. I should double check. I saw the video this morning, when I
The
was
original one.
scanning through. And so it happened, as far as I know, within like 8 hours or so, like, what's it?
Wow.
I don't know. I should look into it better. I shouldn't say that. It happened, what I would say is fast, though.
Wow, that's amazing. Which is fantastic because, when, like you said, when the technology allows us to really connect with people in real time like that, put our message out there and get feedback back. And a lot of people are not using it for that, doing good. They're more like, buy my shit. And that's when it
Right?
doesn't work, right? But when good stuff like this is happening out there, it warms the heart. It's kind of like those two babies that were running towards each other. Remember that one?
Yeah. 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 Then there's a lot of stuff like that. There
Yeah.
really is. It's
Yeah.
and we can, because we live in a culture where people are like doing this all the time with their phones, like we can catch it more often.
Right.
It's like we can catch it more often, we can share it more often. There's a tendency for people to want to document like fights and confrontations
Right.
and like angry people, right? Like, but you're like, man, you can find that cool stuff too. You can find that happy stuff and that kind stuff,
Yep.
and it's just nice to see.
That is true. And so today, get over the hump day. So get over the hump day. We are taking your questions. And the question that came to us is, how are you discovering these tools that you guys are talking about? How are we discovering
Right?
these tools?
So that was right after yesterday. So yesterday we were talking about tools, and people were so blown away by you tipping them off to Descript
Yep.
that some of the mentorship people that I work with were like, they were like, how does she find these tools so fast? How does she know all this? I was like, this is just what she does. But I shouldn't take that for granted. Like, you do have this propensity for finding cool platforms and online tools before anybody else that I know. How do you do that?
So the first thing that I do is I try to, like it's always in the format of like, what am I trying to achieve, right? So am I trying to find a cool way to engage with people, or am I trying to find a way to save me some time, right? Or get over the hump or something. And I'm also very big on don't build your home on rented properties. So all the tools that I'm looking for are like, how can I implement it on my own website very, very easily and achieve what I want without having to pay ClickFunnels or without having to pay lead pages or anything like that. And so because I know what the function that I want is, I go and I look it up. And so for example, I was looking for one-click upsell. And I went to, let's see if I can show you how I go about doing just that. So what I would do is I would go and I would search for one-click upsell for WordPress. And then there'll be a bunch of stuff like everybody else, right? You get a bunch of stuff showing up. You have ads, you have the regular stuff, right? You have videos of one-click upsells. And then I break it down, right? So most of them are for WooCommerce. I don't use WooCommerce. WooCommerce is a shopping list, right? That it's kind of like Shopify. It's a way for you to sell stuff for free on your website. And I don't use WooCommerce because it's a complete store. It's like an Amazon store, and I don't need that. That's like overkill for me. So I'm like, okay, so one-click upsell for WooCommerce, I don't need that. So we get WooCommerce, and then I found, I think there was Cartflow, or there was like, what was that? I found a bunch. You can see that I clicked on them, right? I'm like, ooh, upsell solution. And then I go through them and I find them. And there was one that I found that was working with Infusionsoft. Let's see if I can find it. So that was, I think, keep one-click upsell, yes, plus this or something. So this is what I do. So I'll go through them, right? I'll see a demo. I'll look at like, okay, how much is it? Do I need to pay you a month? What does it do specifically? How does it integrate? And after I find something that I like, so I think there was something that was about $400 pay for one click up thing. So what I did is I went and what was the name of it? Now I want to find out. because I went and I did, okay, alternatives, right? So if I'm looking for Shopify or funnel builder, right? Or if I'm looking for click funnels, right? So if one click upsell, click funnels is the one that does it. And I'll do alternatives. And you can even see free comes up, right? And then you're going to have all these ads for alternatives, and you're going to have all these websites that tell you about what you're looking, you know, all the list and all that stuff and the best ones, and I'm looking through them. And then what I found was upsell, which upsell is amazing. And we're going to bring that guy to come here and talk to you. This one, amazing, amazing, amazing plugin. It does everything you need on your own website. And I love this guy so much. I want him to be more successful than ClickFunnels. So I reach out to the guy, right? I buy it. I buy the product. I see all the, I need it for one site. Now I'm going to actually upgrade to 5 sites because it's so awesome. It's a one-time fee. And I start integrating it with my software and start working with it. And then I reach out to the developer and I'm like, dude, this is so awesome. How do you do this thing? And how do you do this thing? Can you do this also? And what about this one? What about this one? And now we're building our relationship, and I refer him to everybody, and I recommend it to my clients, and yes.
But so to go back to the original question, the answer really is you're a really good Googler.
And I also know what I want, right?
Right. So you have a clear sense of what you want.
Yeah.
And you use Google well to find it. Like you don't have some sort of magical source where this stuff's just coming to you.
So the magic source actually is Google Now. Do you use Google Now?
I used to. I don't anymore like I used to. I thought they got rid of Google Now.
So every time, like when I'm bored, I go to my phone, I swoosh to the right, and then I get all the things that Google think I'm interested in. And just
so I have that on my phone. Is that still Google Now? Yeah. I thought they killed it back on my last phone. I thought they were getting rid of it or something like that. I'm confused, I guess.
So it still brings up stuff. And because so 2 things happening. Now Facebook knows me very well, and they start popping up all those little cool things. And so what I do with Facebook, I just look at all the comments, right? And I'll be like, okay, people saying it's good, it's not good. And I ask around. I always ask around. So this is one of the benefits of actually doing this thing for a while. You start meeting like-minded people who are in the same circles as you, and you can go like, hey, have you heard about this thing? Hey, what do you think about this thing? And so this is what we want to provide you guys, right? So if you don't have these people who you can find something, go ask them like, hey, have you tried it? Is it good? Is it not good? If you don't know how to sort through Google and figure out, is it going to work for me? Is it a scam? Is it not a scam? That's what Get Over the Hump Wednesday is about. That's where you can come in, ask us questions, and we can do this little research for you. And last really awesome place to find these things is Michael Seltzer podcast. Every time, every podcast that they have, at the beginning of the podcast, they have these little tools. So you can hear it from them. They're just sharing these tools. Like, that's how I found Discreet. I'm like, ooh, that is awesome. Let me go check it out. So listening to other people's stuff, right? Because I'm a geek, right? So I'm listening to geeky stuff that I geek out about. And then I go like, ooh, this is super cool. Let me try it. So I, unlike you, who like to find one thing and stick with it, I'm like, ooh, can it be better? Ooh, can I do this one? Ooh, can I do this? That's how we find. And then, being really good at like figuring out what's scam and what's not on Google, that takes experience, right?
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing. So I remember sharing a website right at the beginning of Corona where there was like, here are all the new movies. You can download them and watch them for free. And everybody that I shared it with came back and said, oh, it's a Trojan horse, don't open this website because they'll take over your computer. And I was like, well, you don't understand what a Trojan horse is then. Because for a Trojan horse, you have to install something. And if this is just streaming, this is Netflix. So there's no install, nothing. And so there's a lot of people that don't understand how the internet works. And they either fall into the Trojan horses or don't get to experience stuff because they're like, what's going to happen to me? I watched really good movies there until they took them down. So,
I used to use and I still do technically, but for collecting information, I used to use Google Alerts,
yeah.
right? And I still do. I have a Google Alert set for hypnosis, and I get an email every day with anything that's been published in the world that's new around the topic of hypnotism. And then I had one set for my own name as well.
Yeah.
So that if I performed someplace and then like a local thing wrote a news review of the show or something like that,
Right.
I would know. And it's so weird how over time, at first it was working,
I know.
and
right?
then it shifted over time, and I don't ever get anything about me anymore. All I get is news about this dead guy named Paul Ramsey, who
What?
was a billionaire in Australia. And now before he died, he set up a foundation.
Uh-huh.
And so it's still the Ramsey Foundation. And so like everything they do, there's press releases about and all this stuff. So every day I get Google alerts about this dead billionaire's foundation. And I'm like, what is it?
And but your names are spelled exactly the same, not with an E, with an A.
Exactly the same. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you should reach out and be like, hey, I'm an old relative in America.
Well, here's what I did try to do. I got to a point where I was like, all right, he's a billionaire and he's got a foundation. Maybe they'd want to buy my domain because I own paulramsey.com.
Oh, yeah.
And so I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I own paulramsey.com. Would you be interested? And they're like, no, we're good, thanks. And I was like,
So what's the name of their foundation? Is it like Ramsey something or Ramsey.com or?
I think it's the Ramsey Foundation. I think it was. Yeah. So they already had a website and stuff like that. And then there's, it's funny that how we disconnect or we just don't perceive how big the world really is. Right. Like
Right.
I tend to think like there aren't that many people named, there's not a million, but there's so many more people named Paul Ramsey than I understand. Right. So when I got into this business and I started trying to use SEO and get more work that way and everything, pretty quickly I learned there was a musician in England, a professional musician named Paul Ramsey. And what would happen is people would contact him thinking they were contacting. Yeah. So it got to the point where on his website or on one of his things I found one time, it said Paul Ramsey, the musician, not the hypno. Like he had gotten to that point where he had been contacted enough that he was like, I'm not the hypnotist, leave me alone.
Yeah.
And then I feel like this was a long time ago. I think I actually got an email from the billionaire.
Really?
Yeah, I remember a long time ago in my early years when I first started getting a better presence on the internet, I got an email one day from a guy named Paul Ramsey, and he said he was in Australia, and he just was like, hey, just wanted to, reach out and meet another Paul. And it was a really simple email. I was like, oh, cool, man, whatever. And I didn't know who it was, but he said he was in Australia, and I was like, I think it was him.
Wait,
Yeah.
did you not respond?
I responded not knowing who he was and not looking into it. So I just responded was, oh, cool. Nice to meet you. Blah, blah, blah. It was like really short and simple. And then we never corresponded again.
You should follow up and be like, actually, you should have
He's
a little
dead
Zoom.
now.
Yeah. Be like, hey, I got this email a while back and I never got a response.
It'd be funny. I don't have it. I just got rid of it. Thought no big thing of it at the time. But
You should do a Zoom with all the Paul Ramseys.
right. And I found out at one point that there was a Paul Ramsey who was a registered sex offender.
What?
Yeah. Which again, you think if there's enough of us, there could be some, right? So again, you think of like, I'm trying to sell my services. And what if somebody Googles me and it comes up that Paul Ramsey is a registered sex offender and they think it's me and they're like, we're not going to hire that guy. It's like, how do you
know,
handle
right?
that stuff?
You put it on your website, not the sex offender.
Like the musician, right? I go, the hypno, not the sex offender.
That guy's over there.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I get like, because there's so many fat Kohen in Israel, I get emails with like certificates and like hospital records and
Yeah.
tons of stuff. And I was like, wrong address, wrong address, wrong address.
Crazy.
And I was like, man,
Crazy.
how many people are not getting their hospital records and their certificates and their
Totally.
diploma, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So you need to know how to use Google. That's the bottom line. How do you find
Yeah,
stuff?
that's the bottom line for that, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
and you need to so we're in a weird world, right? The world of like there's privacy issues, right? And there's the how much do I want people to know? How much do I want Facebook and Google to know about me? And how much do I want to keep private? Because the more they know, the better their suggestions are, which is more fitting to what you want to do. But how much do you want them to know about you is kind of like that fine line between
Right.
privacy and convenience.
Right.
Yeah, and Facebook
I've sort of just gotten to the point where I've just sort of accepted that there's no
Like,
such thing as privacy anymore. I really think that. I think like you can create the sense for yourself that there is, I suppose, but
yeah.
like really is there? Like when we live in a world where the data systems are tracking everything you do, and you know that on some level, you just sort of don't keep it at the front of your mind because you want what you want and you want to do what you want, right? Like it blows me away when people, every once in a while, it comes back. It's like a meme almost, where it just happened again the other day where someone posted no Facebook, and there was like this statement like, I do not allow you to.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Those posts where they like
Yeah.
think that if they post it, it means that Facebook can't use their stuff or whatever. And I'm like, that doesn't work. You don't get to do that. Like you're using their service for free. You're paying with your data.
Yep.
You don't get to just change their
Which
policies.
makes it interesting because all my data is saved in the Google Cloud, right? In Drive, in Photos, in stuff, right? In YouTube, all my data is there. And if you're paying for it, does that mean it's your data? Or if you're paying for it, that's still Google's data because you put it in the cloud?
I don't know.
That's
This is the weird when we start trying to define everything in terms of legality. Like I saw a news story once about there was a TV show that was, the story was built on really like, did you know that once your blood is outside of your body, it's not yours?
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So like if you go to the hospital and you have to give blood for a test or so, once the blood is outside of your body, it's not yours anymore, apparently. And so like then, so in this TV episode, they based this whole story on how this guy had given his blood, and it was an episode of Boston Legal where once he gave his blood, he wanted it back so he could do something with it, and the hospital was like, "No, it's ours now." And he was like, "It's my blood," and they're like, "Nope. Once it's out of your body, it becomes ours." Like, it was fascinating. Like, it was.
So
it
if
was
you
crazy.
do if you do blood test, right? Is that kind of like not your blood anymore?
I don't know. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to get into all of that. But there's just stuff like that in the world that we don't even know happens, but someone actually writes laws about it. And most of us will never get touched by it, but sometimes you do, right? Like, so it's all that kind of stuff. It's the data. Have you watched the latest season of Westworld?
I am not touching that one. I cannot. I can't touch it. And I'll tell you why. Because it started with abusing the robots, right? And I was like, I just can't get past.
Right.
Can't get past it.
Right.
Like So.
It's fast. That's a fascinating show, and it's again that goes with our upload and our altered carbon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the latest season, they show this. The latest season is centered around this like supercomputer that has everyone's data and tracks everyone's data all the time. And the scale of data is so large that the computer can predict the future down to a person, what will most likely happen with an individual person because of the massive amount of data it has. It can trend it out.
Yeah.
So it's incredible to think about. You're like, man, could we get to that point? Could we get to that place?
We are, aren't we? Like, that's what Google
probably.
Google
yeah, but you
trends.
don't think about it like that. You don't think about it of like that a computer, you could get to a point someday where a computer analyzes your data and determines what they do in the storyline is basically the computer determines you're never really going to amount to much. So we're just going to track you into, it's almost like a caste system. You know, like you're never going to go above this credit level. You don't qualify for these jobs. So it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The data says you won't, so we're not even going to try to help you.
So that kind of happens in China now. You kind of like, so China right now is basically ranking people based on their social status.
Yeah.
So, right? And it's the same thing, right? If you always buy these brands, then you'll never buy the luxury brands. And so you're like on this subcaste where you take the train and you can't buy a car. I know, right? It's super weird. And it always brings me back to like, okay, when are we going to be like the underground that's fighting the, kind of like Terminator or stuff like that, where we fight the machine to get back.
Well, we already are. When if you're going to use that metaphor, we already are, because isn't that what Anonymous?
Yeah.
Like, aren't they them? Like, they're the, the rogue hacker group that's trying to, fight the system.
And it's always weird. It's kind of like, do I need to become a hacker to kind of like protect my shit? Like, like where do we need, like, how much do I need to know in order to be able to do the stuff that I want to be able to do in the future that they won't allow or disable and stuff? And the question is like, so in Westworld, do they even know that they're going into a cast, or is like...
No, that's part of the important part of the storyline, is that they just think that's the way life is. It's all, because there are benefits that do come along with it. Like, society is so controlled that for most people, the perception is, well, society functions good this way. So they're like, it's cool. Like, like they don't know that there's possibility of living a different life, really. They just think this is the way my life is.
And like, what's interesting? Up until I took Roland Fraser's class, like that 5-day thing.
Yeah.
Right? That opened my eyes to like, oh my God, there are people who know things that make their life so much easier that we're not even privy to. Yeah. Unless you start surrounding yourself with these people and you go like, oh my God, I can, it's so much easier on that other side.
Yeah.
I was telling my friend yesterday, he's building roads, and one of our friends, do you know glowfish? Have you heard of those? The glowfish?
No.
So one of our friends, way at the beginning, we knew him from, let's see, glowfish. So it's these fish that glow under fluorescent light.
Okay.
And so we know the guy who started it. Like,
what, they engineered them to do that?
It's a gene, right?
Okay.
It's a gene that they put in the fish, and so under blue light they glow, right?
Yeah.
They're tiny. They're like this big, right? And you look at them and you're like, eh. And we met him at the beginning. We're like, eh. Now this thing is like so huge. And so yesterday I was talking to my friend and I'm like, look at that stuff. You and I are actually trying to do some work. This guy goes, puts a gin in a fish and that's it, right? Like there's no bettering of the world or anything like that. It's super easy. And we're here trying to pave roads, trying to improve society.
Yeah, right. I know. That's one of the truths of our existence, right? Is that it's like, why are there so many just cat videos on YouTube, right? Like you can make a channel and you're like, I want to change the world and I want to help people. And you're like, yeah, but if you just throw up a cat video, you'll get a lot more likes.
Totally right. Maybe we need to change the world through cats. No.
Yeah.
And so that tells us, back again to the question of the day, become a good Googler. And let Google and Facebook and Netflix and Amazon know everything about you so they can throw stuff your way that you don't, that you like, that you don't know that you like. And then you can sift and sort through them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Tomorrow, we are Book Thursday, and we are talking about a fantastic book, Trust Me, I'm Lying, by Ryan Holiday, that talks about all the ways that you can manipulate the media to get stories, get featured. You don't have to get a PR agency. You just need to come up with your own stories and angles and twists. And the book tells you all about that. So that's tomorrow in our book club, in a Thursday book club.
Hey, random finish. Did you just see the ad that JP Sears did for ClickFunnels?
I did not.
He's in an ad for ClickFunnels. I just saw it yesterday.
See, we're talking JP Sears and now we're talking ClickFunnels, which tells you you don't make money from YouTube, you make money from sponsorships. And you get the sponsorships when you have a lot of views and followers. And it doesn't matter if the views and followers are real, because all they want is the vanity numbers. And you can buy the vanity. Okay, never mind.
No, we're gonna do it the right way, and we're doing fine. We're doing fine. We got good people following us, and they're happy, and they laugh, and they ask good questions.
That's true, and they take action, which is fantastic.
So
until tomorrow, where we talk about the lies of and smoke and mirrors of the PR world, and how you can decide for yourself: do you want to use those lies for your own business, or you want to do it the right way? We'll talk about this